So I apologize in advance for the quality of the presentation, because I was not supposed to give this talk and just found it out yesterday at 10 p.m. So I will try my best, but I'm not sure it will be as good as if Alessandro was here to give the talk. Anyway, I will try to do my best. So following the previous talk, this talk is analogous in the sense that we are going to present some experimental results obtained during the experimental demonstration of the Scout system, focusing of course on the cyber protection side of the system. Briefly, I will show you some slides first, detailing a little bit the different use cases that we have taken into consideration as potential attacks to the ground station. Then I will show you a video showing, in fact, recording during the experimental phase, so as to see what actually happened during the experimental phase. And then I will spend some minutes detailing the Scout console, so what we have actually implemented and what's up and running in the ground station. So let us start with the distinct incident scenarios that we have taken into consideration. We are starting with a simple one, which is a DOS attack mitigation case. Of course, there are 4 use cases mainly. So these use cases do not cover all the range of possible cyber attacks that we can have. It's clear enough, I think. We just chose them because they were significant for us to demonstrate the working of CyberSense, but also of the interaction between CyberSense and Recover. So we are not only dealing with the detection of the attack, but we are also showing that in fact the mitigation strategy are actually put in place and they work properly. So here we have the topology of the network that we have in Matera, in the ground station of Matera. So basically we have put there 4 distinct SDN switches, so it's an SDN backbone network. And we have here the DMZ main, where the different services are offered, and we are supposed to have the attack source connected here to the fourth switch, to switch D, and the standard network user who is here in the left side of the slide, who is connected to the DMZ main, asking for some service. So what happens is that at a given point we have a DOS attack. So the DOS traffic of the DOS attack is the one in yellow. Well, the animation is a bit too fast anyway, too quick. So we have an attack which is flowing from the attack source, of course, to the DMZ main. So trying to making the service unavailable to the standard user. What happens is that by using this probe here and this probe here, we actually are monitoring the portion of the network which is traversed by the traffic of the attack. They communicate to the MCU, the CyberSense MCU, which detects the attacks, send an alert to the Scout MCU, which elaborates the alerts, decide which strategy should be put in place, and then send some messages to the Recover subsystem. The Recover subsystem just forwards some new rules to the SDN switches, so as to drop the packets of the attacks. So basically we have 2 distinct possibilities in the reaction strategies: either some automatic choice, which is drop the attack, or we can also require the network operator to perform some manual choices, asking it, for example, to redirect the traffic to some other places, and we will see later on. If you analyze the communication flow chart, here we see that we have communication between the network users and the service in the DMZ, so it's a standard communication. When we have an unknown source who is performing an attack, a DOS attack against the DMZ main, and here the CyberSense subsystem is starting communicating to the MCU and with the Recover to put in place as I was saying before, the mitigation strategy. And then once the Recover has taken the automatic decision of dropping the packet, what happens is that the traffic is dropped here, so that the communication is final communication, the normal communication is restored. So this is the first use case. Second use case is the case of a malware. So we are supposing that we have a malware here on the DMZ main. So the initial situation is the same as before. We have the network user here on the left side of the slide, who is using a service provided by the DMZ. Then the CyberSense detects some malware here. The malware in this case is a botnet, so we are supposing that there is some command and control traffic between the CNC server of the botnet and the bot who is actually installed over the DMZ. And same as before, what happens is exactly the same thing. So the CyberSense detects the attacks. We can see it here in the communication flowchart. Detects the attack, automatically takes the decision of dropping the traffic. So this time it's not the traffic of the DOS, but it's exactly the same things because it's the command control traffic of the botnet. And at the end, what happens is that the standard communication is restored. So third use case, the third use case has mainly been used for demonstrating the business continuity, because now, of course, one of the main problems that we have when we have to mitigate an attack, to take a countermeasure to an attack, we have to take the business service ongoing. So we cannot stop the normal service, the network service, but we have to make it running still during the attack. So what happens in this case is that what we want is basically that the standard user here, in this case is from the AFCEA LAN, who is using the sub-service in the ground station main network, is able, in case of an attack, or in case of malware, in case of any case of failure, to still be keep using the standard service. So what happens is that in this case here, what we have is that we have a failure on the GSM main here, but the failure could also be on a traffic link or wherever. If you remember, in my previous talk I said that there are some check if alive services, so if the service is up and running is always known by the CyberSense module. So once the CyberSense realizes that the service is not running any longer, just instruct the recover to reroute the traffic. So differently from before, we don't drop traffic in this case, but we change the normal path followed by traffic, moving it from this path here to this path here, down here. So the traffic is redirected from the main service offered by the main ground station network to a copy of the same service provided by a backup copy of the ground station network. Okay, so this is the main difference between the previous case and this one. It is important to say that in this case we have designed the system such that this kind of decision, the decision of rerouting the traffic, is not automatic but must be explicitly taken by a network operator. Here we have the communication flow chart for this case. So we have a standard communication from the maps to the main ground station network. We have some cybersecurity issue here, and the problem is that the communication at this point starts being impossible because we have a failure. CyberSense detects the security event, so as I said before, can be either a physical failure of one link or can be an attack towards a service. In any case, it realizes somehow that the service is not longer available, starts elaborating data, finding a solution, interacting with the recover. A network operator takes the decision of rerouting the traffic, so at this point the standard traffic is redirected to the GSE, to the backup network of the ground station, and then the communication is restored and the standard user can keep using the communication. Last use case is about malware. So in this case also the situation is as in the previous, in the initial phase of the previous use cases. We have a standard user here in the left of the slide communicating towards one service here in the main network of the ground station. So in this case the CyberSense module subsystem detects a malware somewhere, so realizes that this server here is affected by malware and decides to reroute the traffic. I don't give you the details because it is in fact the same case as before, so the communication is exactly the same as the case as the previous case. The only difference is that in business continuity what we do is that we redirect the standard traffic from the main service in the ground station to the backup service in the backup ground station network. In this case, instead, what we redirect is not the standard traffic, but it is the malware traffic. So, in fact, we are not redirecting it from the GS main to the GSE backup, but we are redirecting it to the honeynet. Because in our design, so in our system design, the honeynet is not only used for attracting attacks as it is in the usual case, but also as a decoy network. So where we basically want to redirect the attacker traffic so that the attacker still keep attacking the honeynet without realizing that it is not attacking the actual services. Okay? So that's basically, it's all for the different use cases that we have taken into consideration. I want to show you a video first. So this is a video, okay, it's impossible to read it. The resolution of the projector is too low.
Can't you zoom in? Somehow?
Nothing to do. So I just make it simple. Basically what we have here is that what we did during the experimental testbed, just trust me, trust me that what you see there is what I'm telling you. Basically we are on the network probe, so in these two terminal windows here we are capturing the traffic by using standard TCP dump and redirecting it to the to the CyberSense central unit, and here instead we are on the attacker machine, on the attacker device, so we are running a DOS attack. In this case it was really simple attack with just using HPing, so it was really a trivial attack, but it was just to demonstrate the effectiveness of our system. And here what we have is in fact the logs of the CyberSense central unit showing that in fact the attack is detected and is correctly located at the right probe. So I think that I can stop the video because you don't see anything and it doesn't make much sense. In any case, let me go to the most interesting part of the talk. I think I want to show you here what we have actually put in place and what is up and running at the end of the project. So this is the Scout console, which basically gives us graphical user interfaces for all the functionalities of the system. You just have to insert, of course, login and password and login. Given that we are really fond of security, there is no login now. In any case, this is the main window that you see when you access the Scout console. You have some information about the different sensors running. Also in this case, it's a bit hard to read, but it's a bit better. In this moment, the system is up and running, but there are no events recorded, so there are no anomalies in the ASI ground station, so I guess that someone can be happy of that. There are no attacks in the ground station. Here, basically, we have the different interfaces. So, if we click here as an example on physical, what you see is exactly the same picture that Mauro previously showed you. This is the ground station in Matera with the different sensors which are working at the moment. So if in fact there is something anomalous, that would be shown on this GUI here. And instead here in the cyber we have the complete topology of the network in the ground station of Matera. So I just want to show very briefly what happens when we have some attacks. So I just go to the notifications. You see here we have a small envelope that is where the operator sees the notification of the system. Here we have some logs from the previous attack. If I take as an example a log from the experimental test that we ran, this is about a DOS attack. So there was a DOS from a user connected here towards the DMZ, so here towards one standard service. orange means that the server is under attack, and the red traffic is in fact the attack traffic. So this is what happens when CyberSense detects an attack. This is the graphical output of the CyberSense module. And if I go to next, what we see is that in fact in this case the system decides to reroute the traffic towards the backup service in the DMZ backup. Okay? Let me show you also one event about the physical intrusion here. So this is what happens when instead the SenseNet subsystem detects an attack. So in this case it's a cooperative person working in the ground station. You see here we have the different parameters from the different sensors, like detected distance, altitude, velocity, and dimension. And here if I click on next, we see what happens in time when the person keeps walking. So it is detected first from the blue sensors and then moves here. It is detected by also the other sensor and so on and so forth. So this is at the end what is actually, as I was saying, up and running in the system. So this is the console of the whole system. I think it's enough. So I apologize again if it was not that good.